My fellow Nigerians, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into Nigeria's most controversial political figures. Today we are tackling the million naira question that has been splitting Nigerian Twitter, literally breaking the internet for the past few years. Is Peter Obi actually fit to be Nigeria's president? Well, it is important you know this video is not to campaign for him, but a review of his good, his bad and ugly. So be ready for the good and bad news. Before we start, smash that subscribe button because we are about to serve some serious political tea, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of our future deep dives. So Peter Obi, the man who turned Nigerian politics upside down, created a movement called Obidient and made obedience a thing. But is he really presidential material, or is he just another political flash in the pan? Let's find out. First things first, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Peter Obi didn't just run for president. He created a whole movement, the Obidient, and yes, that's what they call themselves. And that is probably the most dedicated political fan base Nigeria has ever seen. These guys gave many politicians heart attacks and the fear of the impossible to many political analysts. The man literally broke the internet during the 2023 election campaign. 1 minute he was this quiet former governor most people outside the southeast barely knew, and the next minute he was trending on Twitter every single day. He did something that Nigerian politics hasn't seen in decades. He made young people actually care about politics. But here's where it gets interesting. Peter Obi didn't win the 2023 election. Bola Tinubu did, with 37% of the votes, while Obi got 25%. But here's the kicker. Obi's supporters are still convinced he actually won. In fact, just recently, he's been gearing up for another presidential run in 2027, claiming he can turn Nigeria around in just 4 years. Bold claim, right? Okay, let's start with why people are literally obsessed with this man. And trust me, when I say obsessed, I mean obsessed, like mad. Peter Obi's biggest selling point is his track record as governor of Anambra State from 2006 to 2014. This man turned Anambra from a state that was basically broke into one of the most financially stable states in Nigeria. He said he left office with about $75 million in the state treasury, and in Nigerian politics, that's basically unheard of. Most governors leave office with the state treasury looking like a cleaned out prison plate of cooked beans. So Peter Obi left office with about $75 million in the state treasury. Here's what makes Obi different from your typical Nigerian politician. He actually practices what he preaches. The man is famously frugal. While other politicians are buying private jets and building mansions, Obi is out here flying economy class and staying in budget hotels. His supporters love this because it signals that he won't be looting the treasury. Peter Obi did something magical in 2023. He made Nigerian youth believe in politics again. For the first time in decades, young Nigerians weren't just complaining on social media. They were actually registering to vote, campaigning and getting involved in the political process. The Hash Will Be Dirty movement was largely youth-driven, and it was beautiful to watch. Unlike many Nigerian politicians who rely on empty promises and populist rhetoric, Obi comes across as someone who actually understands economics and governance. He quotes statistics, references global best practices, and speaks about policy in detail. For a country tired of clueless leadership, this is refreshing. In a country where political rallies often turn violent, Obi's campaigns have been remarkably peaceful. He preaches unity, peace and progress, and his supporters have largely followed this example. Now, let's keep it real. Peter Obi isn't perfect, and his critics have some valid points. Let's break down the major weaknesses. Here's the big one. Peter Obi is Igbo, and Nigeria has this unwritten rule that power must rotate between the north and southwest. No Igbo person has been president since Nigeria returned to democracy in 1999. His critics argue that his support base is too narrow and ethnically concentrated in the southeast. During the 2023 election, this became a major talking point, with opponents suggesting he was an Igbo candidate, rather than a truly national figure. Peter Obi joined the Labour Party in 2022, and while this gave him a platform, the party lacks the grassroots structure of the APC or PDP. The Labour Party is essentially a small party that suddenly found itself in the spotlight. Critics argue that without proper party infrastructure, even if Obi wins, he will struggle to govern effectively. Some critics, particularly those who worked with him in Anambra, claim that Obi is better at talking about development than actually delivering it. They argue that while he left money in the treasury, he didn't invest enough in infrastructure and job creation. A significant portion of Obi's support comes from social media, particularly Twitter. Critics argue that this creates an echo chamber where his supporters think he is more popular than he actually is. The 2023 election results seem to support this criticism. His social media presence didn't translate to enough votes. Nigeria's politics is deeply influenced by religion, and Obi's Christian identity in a country where the north is predominantly Muslim creates some challenges. His critics argue that this limits his appeal in northern Nigeria. Let's talk about some of Peter Obi's biggest political blunders and controversies. After losing the 2023 election, Obi and his supporters spent months claiming the election was rigged. While election irregularities are common in Nigeria, the way Obi handled the loss disappointed some supporters who expected him to be more gracious in defeat. Just a few months ago, Obi got into a very public spat with the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, over early morning exam schedules. While his intentions were good, he was concerned about student welfare. JAMB fired back, suggesting he was playing politics with education. The controversy made him look like he was criticizing for the sake of it. Some critics have accused Obi of engaging in alarm politics, constantly criticizing the government without offering concrete solutions. A recent piece by Rotimi Fason called it Bajue politics, suggesting that Obi's constant criticism of the Tinubu administration is more about positioning for 2027 than genuine concern for Nigeria. Recently, Obi was criticized for serving food at a public event, with some suggesting it was a political stunt. While he defended it as an act of humility, critics saw it as calculated campaign strategy for 2027. Many asked, have he done this at a party before? Some groups have accused Obi of marginalizing non-indigenous residents during his time as governor of Anambra State, claiming he favored only his ethnic group in post-disaster compensations and restricted state employment opportunities. The truth is, Nigeria is literally split down the middle when it comes to Peter Obi. Let me paint you a picture of just how divided the country is. The Obedients, the true believers, these are the die-hard supporters who believe Obi is Nigeria's messiah. They are mostly young, educated, and social media savvy. They see Obi as the anti-establishment candidate who will save Nigeria from corrupt politicians. They are so devoted that they've created a whole subculture around supporting him. The skeptics, the show me crowd, these are people who like Obi's message but want to see more concrete action. They are not convinced that good intentions and past performance as governor are enough to run a country as complex as Nigeria. The haters, the Never Obi Brigade, these are his hardcore critics who believe he's overhyped and that his support base is too narrow. They argue that he's more of a social media phenomenon than a serious political leader. Interestingly, Obi recently received a Peace Leadership Award from Sacramento State University's Center for African Peace and Conflict Resolution for his influence on peaceful electoral politics. This international recognition has boosted his profile, but it's also led to more criticism from opponents who see it as foreign interference in Nigerian politics. The backlash against Obi has been particularly intense on social media, where his critics use hashtags like #ObiScam to counter the #ObiDati movement. The polarization is so intense that mentioning Peter Obi in any Nigerian social media space is guaranteed to start a fight. Wahala. So, after all this analysis, is Peter Obi fit to be Nigeria's president? Well, it depends on what you mean by fit. While many Nigerians have described all politicians as devils with different level of evil and wickedness, Peter Obi is seen as a lesser evil by the skeptics. Well, to be fair, he has executive experience as a two-term governor. He has a proven track record of fiscal responsibility. He inspires young people and represents a break from the old guard. He's intellectually equipped to handle complex policy issues. He's relatively clean by Nigerian political standards. The honest truth, his political base may be too narrow for a country as diverse as Nigeria. He lacks the party infrastructure needed to govern effectively. His criticism-heavy approach might not translate to effective governance. The ethnic and religious dynamics of Nigerian politics work against him. Here's the thing. Being fit for president isn't just about having good intentions and a clean record. It's about having the political skills, coalition building ability, and strategic thinking needed to navigate Nigeria's complex political landscape. Peter Obi definitely has some of these qualities, but he also has significant weaknesses. His biggest challenge isn't his competence. It's his ability to build a truly national coalition that can win elections and govern effectively. So what's the final verdict? Peter Obi is definitely qualified to be president. He has the experience, the vision, and the integrity. But whether he's electable and whether he can be effective as president are different questions entirely. The man has sparked something important in Nigerian politics. He's made young people care about governance. He's raised the bar for what Nigerians expect from their leaders. And he's proven that politics doesn't have to be dirty. Whether he becomes president or not, Peter Obi has already changed Nigerian politics in fundamental ways. And honestly, that might be his greatest contribution to the country. What do you think? Is Peter Obi fit for president? Are you Team Obidient, or do you think he's overhyped? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's have a civilized discussion. I know that's asking a lot when it comes to Peter Obi discussions. Don't forget to like this video if you found it informative. Subscribe for more political deep dives and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next controversial topic. Until next time, keep questioning, keep analyzing, and remember, in politics there are no simple answers, only complex questions.